All right, ladies and gentlemen, as it's 1:30 in the afternoon, I'd like to call this meeting to order. I'd like to kick off with introductions and then we'll finalize establishing a quorum. From the city of Colorado Springs and part of our Mountain Metro Transit, I'd like to introduce the new voting member, Lan Rao. So Lan, do you want to do that? Or introduce?
Thank you. Thank you, Gail. My name is Lan Rao, Transit Administrator, currently acting Transit Services Manager. I have been with Transit for about 15 years, moving up through a few different positions, and I've been following tech meetings and have been very impressed with the tech committee's work. So I'm very glad and honored to be part of it.
All right. And then Jessica, I mean, I was in shock when I saw, I'm like, wait a minute, I thought you'd moved to Pueblo. So Jessica, welcome back. And if you could maybe kick us off and we'll go around the room and do a quick round of introductions with your new role back at PPACG.
Sure. Hello, I'm Jessica Bechtel. I am the Transportation Programming and Project Delivery Planner. Mouthful. I was previously the office manager here for 5 years and did all of the committee meetings for a while. Now I'm back learning the ropes on this kind of stuff. So bear with me as I get my feet wet. Thanks.
Jason Dosh, Town of Palmer Lake Public Works Supervisor.
Aaron Busto, Federal Highways.
Will Keenan, Federal Highways.
Lachelle Davis, Region 2 Local Agency Manager.
Kathleen Collins, CDOT HQ, Statewide and Regional Planning.
Wendy Pettit, soon to be non-CDOT employee.
Jeff Guthrie, drinking from Wendy Pettit's fire hose. Region 2.
Victoria Chavez, El Paso County.
Gail Sturdivant, City of Colorado Springs and Chair of the TAC.
Lan Rao, City of Colorado Springs, MMT.
I thought we were doing Jared because he's hid behind the pole. He's not gonna. John Leo Santos, PPACG.
Okay, and then we have some members that are on Zoom. It looks like Ben, if you could start, I'm going to try to do it enough as I see you on the screen.
Ben Sheets, City of Fountain.
All right. Oh, now it's gosh, now it's up. Ioka.
Ioka Paik, Community Planner for Peterson.
Ashley.
Ashley Brame, City of Colorado Springs, MMT.
Casey.
Hi, Casey Fortman with PPACG, GIS Planner.
Okay. Darren. Darren, are you able to come off mute and introduce yourself? Okay. Dole?
Yes, hi.
You want to introduce yourself? Are you going to be with CDOT today, Manitou Springs, or somebody else?
Very funny.
Yeah.
This is
Kelly. Go ahead.
Oh, you already introduced me, so I guess I'm good.
All right. Kelly.
Kelly Frazier, Finance Supervisor for MMT.
Great, thanks. Glenn?
Good afternoon, Glenn Krause, CDOT Department of Transit and Rail.
Okay, Matt?
Hi, Matt Pettit with CDOT Local Agency.
Okay, perfect. Phil?
Hi, Phil Von Hake with CDOT Multimodal Planning.
Perfect, thanks. And then Rob?
Yep, Rob Fry, CDOT Pine Environmental.
All right, and then we had another person join us in the room. If you'd introduce yourself, please.
Ben Schmidt, City of Woodland Park.
Okay, great, thank you. Danielle, just to confirm, we have a quorum present? All right. I hope everyone had the opportunity to review the agenda. If any changes, please bring them to our attention. If not, I'd be looking for a motion to approve the agenda as published.
Victoria, so moved.
This is Jason. I'll second.
Right. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. The next item is public comment or presentation for items that are not on the agenda. Do we have any members in the audience that have either signed up or present that would like to have opportunity to speak to the Transportation Advisory Committee? Okay. All right. Seeing none, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes from the December 15th, 2022 meeting.
Going to be the Jason and Vicky show today. Victoria, so moved.
This is Jason. I'll second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say nay. Hearing none, the minutes are approved. Next item on the agenda is the Board of Directors report. John?
I totally forgot about this item. Let's see. What? My dog ate my homework. Let's see. Last, we met, trying to remember, there was the, we had the air quality presentation and we had a safety presentation
Tip amendment.
and we had the tip amendment. Anything else? The MMF was the tip, I believe, yeah. Oh, you didn't turn on.
All right, John, thank you. I'm moving on to our action items. We have one action item today on the multimodal transportation and mitigation opportunity fund availability. So Danielle? So Danelle, I have a couple questions for you on this. So just to confirm, this looks like it was 100% federal funding that's available in this 1.3 million, and it would still be required to have a 50-50 match, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then the obligation is by 2024, so it needs to be turned around relatively quickly and then the expenditure by the end of 26. So I would propose, if somebody's putting together a motion, that we get the notice of funding opportunity as quickly as possible. So it has, a local agency has the ability to meet those requirements for this funding opportunity.
And do we need to know, sorry, we should have talked before.
Right. Well, can I ask another follow-up
please.
question? And as I said that, so what would be the quickest opportunity we would have to be able to turn around if the TAC were to recommend that a notice of funding opportunity turn around? Would we have to wait till the next TAC meeting before it comes out, or could we send the notice out and have applications due relatively quickly and start that process so we can get that award identified in the next couple months?
It really just depends on what time frame the jurisdictions would like to get those applications.
Okay.
Yeah, and if I may, sometimes in the past, what we've found is we'll send out the application and then we'll get input from the jurisdictions. Hey, your deadline is too short. So that's why we like to bring it and make sure that we are working within the time frame that works for you all. But as far as we're concerned, Danelle probably this afternoon or tomorrow morning can send out the document. We just want to make sure that the time frame is all good with you, because if we just sort of pick a date arbitrarily, then we get a couple folks saying it's too soon, then all of a sudden we're sending out a new date and it just gets a little cattywampus. So we figured the best thing to do is just ask you all up front what you want, because this is your process that we're just facilitating, and then we will send that out with what you want. And I think the other thing we might need to know is if this is existing projects only or new projects.
Correct. Yeah.
So that
Which correct. Which would you prefer?
we need you guys to tell us.
I think. Sorry, I misunderstood the conversation.
Yeah.
Well, I would propose that as we've done traditionally, to fund existing projects first, and if we felt like we weren't going to have enough requests, then we could entertain new projects that could be eligible for that type of funding. If that makes sense to everyone. Any further discussion or questions that we want to have? Victoria, if I were to put a motion out there that you could say that what.
Well, we're just providing guidance, so I don't believe we need a motion for this one. But I agree with you. I think it should be done as quickly as possible. I do not have a project in the hopper that can go that quickly, so you don't have to worry about my long grant time frame. So I'll help you out with that. You might as well go quick.
Danielle, what would be appropriate to be able to ask for jurisdictions feel like they may be as far as pursuing this fund, since we are going to be looking for a short time frame? So Jason, I'm going to look at you first.
No, I'm, the town of Palmer Lake is not going to go after any of these funds.
Ben?
Since we already secured the or the federal funds for the sidewalk project for our capital projects for this year, I don't know that we have any projects that are.
And then I had a question for you, and I can't remember who it is, and maybe you can help me remember. Somebody had to take partial state and partial federal funds for their last MMOF award. The city and Mountain Metro Transit took most of the state money, but someone else, and maybe it was Monument, had to take some.
I believe it was mine.
Okay. I would wonder if it would be helpful for them not to have the state funding to pay, based on the timing of their project, but they can.
This is Sheila from Monument. Do we know?
Okay.
I've only been in the business or in the town for a couple of months now, so I'm not even sure what project they received the funds for, but I can go back and see if I can get some guidance from other staff.
Okay, that would be great. Thanks, Sheila. I didn't realize you were on board. Thank you for joining us. Let's see. Victoria, you said no. The city of Colorado Springs actually has one project that already has MMOF funding. It's for that academy, or I'm sorry, the Hancock Expressway sidewalk. There actually is a significant cost increase to that, so we will be applying for at least a portion of those funds. Mountain Metro.
We have a candidate, but we're open to other priorities. The downtown shuttle project we started running the shuttle May 2022 using the federal FTA ARPA funding. So we project that funding is going to run out around May 2025. So if there is money available to continue that project running the downtown shuttle, it would be really good use, and we can probably turn around that funding pretty quickly. Yeah.
So it sounds like we'd have at least two projects, and they're just knowing that Monument wants to check on their funding. So I think if we could turn that around relatively quickly. Yes, John. Did we have an opportunity to check with Fountain? Because I know they had a possible Fort Carson. That's a good question. You're right. And Ben, sorry, because you guys really confused me, by the way. Ben, could you speak to that?
I would love to, but I'm not familiar with that. I'll have to get back to you on that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And Gail, this is Dole with Manitou. We would have an opportunity. I think we would have a project that we could apply towards these funds.
Okay. So it sounds like we'd have at least 3 existing projects that we could go through. Anyone else online, and I apologize, there's enough participants online now, I can't see the names. If somebody would like to either raise their hand virtually or speak up. Yes.
Just one thing to put before you guys. There was a couple of projects that were applied for in the previous funding round from 2 of our human service transportation providers. So keep that in mind, just to let you know that those 2 projects didn't get funded. So in kind of considering whether that would be open to our human service transportation providers in this next go around.
Great, thank you. The good news is that they've had applications that could turn those around relatively quickly. So it says it's an action item, but you just really need direction from the TAC. So unless someone feels differently, and what I'm hearing is to turn that around, that notice of funding opportunity around as quickly as possible with a 2 to 3 week turnaround so we could have it, the applications available prior to the February TAC meeting, if that's acceptable.
So something along the lines of, we'll send something out, 2-week deadline, and then a workshop. Everybody good with a workshop, and we'll conduct it online so you can just.
Perfect. That was going to be the next thing to ask for that workshop. As you send that out, if we could also do a doodle poll to get that workshop at a minimum a few days before the next TAC meeting. All right. Anything else on that topic? Otherwise, we'll move on to our informational items. First one, CDOT updates.
Go ahead.
Hi, this is Kathleen Collins from Statewide and Regional Planning. Some announcements regarding staff changes. Rebecca White is leaving CDOT. She is the Division of Transportation Development Director, as well as Steve Harrelson, our Chief Engineer. He is also retiring at the end of this month. Also, the Transportation Commission gave their farewell or to those 2 parties, as well as welcomed Shane Ferguson to Region 2 as the new RTD. And then in terms of the Revitalizing Main Streets program, Nasa Birmingham, who was working as an intern in the freight branch, is now going to be the manager of the Revitalizing Main Streets program. And then a new hire, Morgan Olson, is also going to be assisting with that program. And those are the main changes that occurred this month. Thanks. And also we know that Wendy is leaving, as well as a Jen. And we are going to be having a gathering after this meeting to honor Wendy. So go ahead, Wendy or Jeff or Lachelle.
Good afternoon, everyone. In looking at the awards for the recent NOFA that we went through here in the last couple of months, I realized that there was an error in the funding in fiscal year 2026. And we've had to make an adjustment, but we didn't make an adjustment that's going to have any impact on any of the projects. We were able to take the shortfall from 2026 with Fountain's cooperation and move it into 2027. They already had money awarded in 2027, and we have the additional funds in 2027 to be able to backfill the shortfall. It's not a small shortfall. I'll explain to you how it happened. So when I did the calculations for the federal amount and the match, I didn't put brackets around one of the terms in my formula. So when you get a double negative, it adds it back in. So it added the match back in. So we were $422,300 short of being able to meet our requirements. So with some cooperation and some looking, and I was able to make sure that Fountain stayed whole, and that the swap that Victoria was asking for with Fountain and different El Paso County projects to be able to forward the State Highway 105 project into construction and have all the funding in the right years. All of that has been taken care of and done with the help of Ben and the crew in Fountain. So I can't tell you how much I appreciate your cooperation to get that done. City of Fountain, it's much appreciated by myself to clean up my mess and to make sure that PPACG stays whole with the processes that they have going in place. So I appreciate it.
I appreciate you fixing that as well and and helping us find a way to make that happen because we really needed to get the project. We had money spread all the way out to 26 or 27 and we needed to get it in 23 and 24 so we can actually go to construction right now. So thank you, Ben, City of Fountain, for helping us swap some money out. We swapped some money between some of our projects, and with Wendy's first mistake, she's now leaving. Who knew? So thank you.
You're very welcome.
And I guarantee you it wasn't the first mistake. You just didn't catch me at it.
Michelle, did you have anything that you wanted to hit today? All right, moving on to our next informational item. We have the IIJ or other funding opportunities, a standing item.
Also, we sent out some information. If you didn't receive it and are interested, please let me know because I think I forwarded it to everybody. But the Main Street program is starting back up and applications will be due on a monthly rolling basis starting in February. So I think that's everything we have as far as funding. Oh, yes. We also, PPACG has received some money through DOLA to hire a grants navigator for the region. We are going through applications for that process right now. So hopefully we'll have a firm or an individual on board fairly soon.
And if I might just add a little more meat to that bone. As we were going through, we realized that if we have a navigator, they're able to contact all the jurisdictions and find out their projects and then research the different funding pots and then sort of match make the two. But then the next process for a jurisdiction, and again, some of you guys have more resources than others, right? Maybe the big guys have folks on staff, but maybe some of the little guys don't. Then the next step is then sort of getting into that grant writing sort of thing. And so we're looking for that navigator that has some of that grant writing capabilities. But then down the road is the sort of some of the technical expertise. Again, maybe some of the bigger jurisdictions don't need it, but definitely the smaller jurisdictions need that help. So we've reached out to OEdit, and I think they've seemed very positive on that, that not only would we do a grant navigator, we would reserve some of those funds to hire some engineering firms on an on-call basis to do some of the more technical analysis, plural of analysis, anyway, to figure out, to answer some of those more difficult questions that appear on applications. And I do know that some of the jurisdictions have wastewater projects sort of stacking up as the first things out. And while I know a lot of stuff, I don't know anything about wastewater. So we definitely need to sort of be able to grab that expertise. So that's one thing that so far with OEdit, it seems very positive. We'll be able to have that grant navigator that will be that one-on-one contact to figure out sort of the roadmap. But we should be able to have some funds on a case-by-case basis to hire an on-call consultant to answer some more of those technical questions. So hopefully that's the right approach. That's actually going to help some of you jurisdictions that are interested to go after some funds and hopefully secure them.
All right, anything else anyone wants to add on that topic? Otherwise, we'll move on to Will's presentation on pavement conditions.
in Manitou and the city of Fountain participated. They kind of piggyback on this contract with the help of some PPACG funding. If anybody is interested in piggybacking on the city of Colorado Springs PCI contract this year, they expect to have an RFP out sometime this spring, and hopefully we'll begin inspection by the end of summer, early fall. We might have some funds available in PPACG to help out with any jurisdictions that would like to piggyback. So anybody interested, please reach out to me and we can discuss possibilities and coordinate that with the city of Colorado Springs for the collection in the contract. Are there any questions at all?
Thank you, Will. Next item is the update on the long-range transportation plan. Danielle?
Jared, if you could go to the first page of the slides. We are kind of kicking off the new LRTP, the Long Range Transportation Program. We go to the next slide. Actually, this just provides a little bit of background information about the purpose of the Long Range Transportation Plan. It is updated every 5 years. I think it's a forecast period of at least 20 years. So our next LRTP will actually go out to 2050. And of note to the jurisdictions here, projects must be consistent with the LRTP to move into the Transportation Improvement Program and actually be allocated funding. Next slide, please. So these are just some of the component plans that will feed into the Long Range Transportation Plan. So we will include references, of course, to any local plans that exist. We are collecting those. If we can't find those plans, we'll be reaching out to you to see if we can get copies of those. The Tri-County study, of course, that Jason did will be incorporated into the Long Range Transportation Plan. That should say freight study, not freight plan, but that is kicking off currently with some toll credits from CDOT. And Jason again will be the POC on that effort that will feed into our Long Range Transportation Plan. We have a transit plan and a specialized human services plan. Those are running through Mountain Metro Transit. We will be assisting with that as well. I believe those should go to our fairly soon.
We got a nod. We'll take that.
They'll take. We also plan to do an active transportation plan. That's a bicycle and pedestrian plan. CDOT's working on the toll credits for that, so we can get that quickly in the spring here. And also the congestion management process, of course, that we adopted here just a few months ago. And go to the next slide. Just a quick overview of some of the goals of the TAC and the jurisdictions in the development of the LRTP. So coordination of the local plan, as I mentioned, we'll be reaching out to all of you to kind of work on the regional forecast approach, and Will can answer more questions about that than I can. Not an expert in that bit. But then we will do the needs identification, the project submission. That will include a scrub of the existing LRT project list. So if you have projects that you know maybe fell off of the priorities for your jurisdiction, we'll be looking for that information. We'll do a call for projects, of course. New to this LRTP, we will be asking for timing of projects as well. We need to put them into 5-year bands to assist with our greenhouse gas modeling. And we will also be asking for updated cost estimates for projects. We'll, of course, have the TAC involved in the workshops for project selection and reviews of the LRTP as a whole. And next slide, please. So some of our next steps, I mentioned that we had recently adopted our congestion management process. At this point, we have actually some leftover funding for our consultants that helped us with the CMP. So what we're hoping to do is some validation of the scoring methodology included in the congestion management process. So if we can take some of those existing projects that we know are priorities and we know that they will be included in the next plan, we can go ahead and run them through the scoring now and provide them to everybody in the tax so that if we need to make any tweaks or changes to the scoring, we can do that ahead of time. We're also putting together some mapping and modeling efforts. So we have our traffic demand model update. Again, that's something that Will can speak to if you're interested in more information. That effort should kick off very quickly. You have the kickoff meeting today, right? Okay. And we've also had our GIS group working on some mapping of all the existing projects in the area to kind of give us a base to work from. We're also working on an interactive electronic LRTP. So we use Eco Interactive for our STEP. We've also put all of the LRTP projects into that system for the long range transportation plan. And so we're working with Eco Interactive to kind of see how we can make this more seamless and easier for everybody to track projects and also move them into the TIP in the future.
If Tim Roberts was here, I was going to say, this also using Eco Interactive, we will now have TIP ID, long range plan ID numbers. Because I think some of you have gone to get grants and there's a requirement for that. And for some reason, the folks beforehand never did that. So that will be in place. So every project will have an ID number, which should help facilitate that process. Hey, so I just want to let you know, we actually listen when you ask for something and it's in place.
Jurisdictions or POs or departments of transportation might be doing it for. So we're hopeful that will really help with the LRTP development. And then I believe then the final slide. We just have some next steps for outreach and public participation listed in here as well. We'll be establishing the Regional Transportation Plan Advisory Committee very soon. We need to finalize our public engagement strategy, so we'll be bringing that to folks. And then we also will be hiring a consultant for our public outreach effort to include a public survey. And one more slide, just a very quick overview of schedule, very high level kind of schedule, so you can see kind of what our plans are, where our efforts overlap. But happy to answer any questions. Just wanted to bring this to you guys so you're aware of where we're at and the kinds of things that we'll probably be asking for in the next few months.
Great, thank you. I do have one question, and then I'll open it up here for others. When we talked about the congestion management plan and it went to the PPACG board, I know that Mayor Thompson had a concern about one of the criteria when it referred to water harvesting, and per direction of the TAC worked with Danielle and staff to provide a clarification. So if you could give us a bit of an overview on that, and one, let us know if there was a change to the congestion management plan, Or is that was more of a clarification?
Yes, actually, we did talk a little bit about that. I actually have a note to myself and I skipped right over it. We looked at going into the congestion management plan and actually changing that wording from water harvesting to green infrastructure or green stormwater infrastructure to be more clear what we were really trying to achieve there. So we'll be making that change when making sure that that is addressed.
But to your point, we took that more of a clarification. We don't see that it needs to go back to the board. So
Okay.
we're following direction of the board based on the way we interpreted it, and given the response from TAC, we're just putting it back in, and we don't see it needs to go back. So.
And unless somebody's objected, I'm comfortable with that. And I'd be open to hear if there's other comments or questions that other members on the TAC have on that item. I think that makes sense. And whether it's a change or an errata to what was published or adopted by the board for clarification on that, I think that would be acceptable. Unless anyone feels differently. Anyone online? All right, hearing none. Any other questions for Danielle? All right, hearing none. We've got, it's time for member entity announcements. Jason, that's what you get for being in that corner.
No,
So you get to start.
no, I do not have any announcements.
Then,
I'd just like to take this opportunity to introduce Kimberly Burleson. She's our new grants analyst, and she's been doing a great job. So I just thought we'd bring her in to get her in touch with everybody and
Perfect.
see what opportunities are available.
Welcome. Thank you.
Gail, if I could, Chairwoman, if I can, I would like to just rewind a second. I thought of something while we were sitting here. Most of the projects that had MMO funding awarded back in 2022, they were granted an extension, if not all projects were granted an extension for that, to spend that money. So I just think it'd be good to touch base with Michael Snow, just in case it doesn't actually have to be spent by or obligated by 2024.
Okay.
They were given up to 2 years extension on a lot of those.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Victoria.
I'm going to be really, really quick. So we're updating our major transportation corridor plan. We're going to have a survey out later on this week, hopefully tomorrow. It's at www.2045mtcp.com, and we're looking for input on our transportation goals.
Great. Nothing from City of Colorado Springs Mountain Metro.
You probably already knew this. Brian Vituli, who used to be on the TAC, is no longer working with MMT. He's moving out of state. And we also have a couple staff promotions. Ashley Bram, who is also online, has been promoted to the senior contracting analyst position. And Allison Burns has been promoted to the grants analyst position. So you might see their names coming through.
Great, thanks. All right, Dole, any updates for Manitou? Okay, Ben Sheets from Fountain.
I have no updates, Gail.
All right, and I know I'm missing somebody, but since I can't see anyone else, unless is there any other member of governments online that have an announcement?
This is Sheila with Monument. I don't really have an announcement, just that I'm glad to be a part of this. We had a 0 staff when I came on board, and now we're up to 3. So I'm happy to be fully staffed again and getting more involved.
Great, great. Thank you, Sheila. Any other items for future TAC meetings?
Performance measures next month that I know about. But otherwise, nothing pressing that I'm aware of.
Okay, great. Thank you. Last call, otherwise I'm going to call this meeting adjourned. All right, meeting's adjourned as of, yeah, that was a 2:07. Thank you. I know.